It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by
PSE Archery, Yamaha Outboards, Better the Hunt, Easy Cut, Packer Max, Deer Camp Coffee, Buck Baits, JPO Game Calls, Limwalker Game Calls, Wild Seasoning, Total Peep, Sunrise Archery, Scent Lock, and Scent Blocker.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Up North Journal Live tonight.
We are back.
We got a good show tonight, man. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this one for a while now.
I know, right?
I've been using this this new little tool.
You've been using it while you're kayaking?
I've been using it for all kinds of good stuff, man.
Excellent.
So can't wait to talk about it tonight. But let me get my app up here. You need to turn your audio
How about
on.
I turn my audio off? There we go.
As soon as I get this going here, we will get going with tonight's show. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. It's been a warm week here in Michigan. A little rain still playing around in the area. So how's it out towards your way? A lot of rain?
Try and talk about trying to get your grass cut.
Right?
It's like, okay, I got a couple hours. Run out there quick.
Yeah, no matter how hot and muggy it is.
Right? It was brutal, but I got it done. Now, with all the rain, it just looks like I never cut it.
I know, man. It's horrible. What are you going to do?
Well, you're going to get out there and you're going to cut it, and you're going to wait. But we're into July.
It is, man. Where has the year went?
Fast.
It's just, we're way less now than 100 days to deer season.
Right.
It's going to be here before we know it. And you're going to check out deer camp for the first time?
Yeah, I'm heading up next week. I'm going to head up to deer camp. I'm going to head up to the Upper Peninsula and do some little bit of food plotting.
Okay.
And set up the cameras, figure out what's going on.
Is that the first time you've been up this year?
Yeah, it is. I didn't get up there for Memorial when I typically get up there, so this will be the first time I'm up there, so it's going to be like 5 feet of grass. I'm going to need a combine to get back there. And
All right. Okay, I got my stuff out of the way here.
Mr. Mark Coleman, how are you, sir?
Are we ready to go?
We are.
All right, here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal podcast. Everybody, your host Mike Adams, sitting in a warm cabin tonight. It's a little toasty in here.
It's actually not as humid.
No, but it's still toasty in
Well,
here.
it's always toasted under the lights.
So, but we got a great show lined up for you tonight. Before we get started, though, Danny, why don't you take care of some quick business for us?
First quick business we're going to do is we're going to talk about our sponsors who support us. And we're going to start off with Buck Baits. That's right, folks. It's getting to be about that time. You're going to need to get your order in. And if you go over to buckbaits.com and use the promo code UNJ20, you'll get 20% off your order upon checkout. If you're thinking about putting in your fall food plots, which you're probably working on, make sure you get over to packermax.com, use the promo code UNJ25, you'll get $25 off your order over at Lincoln Roan. And he is busy, so you might want to, if you're thinking about it,
Get an order in.
Get an order in and get in line. Thinking about those game calls as well. 10% off UNJ10 over at JPO Game Calls. If you want to get a deer call, grunt tube or anything, get over there and check out their website.
Check out that Omni system he's got.
Absolutely. Promo code for Wild Seasonings. We're coming up to 4th of July. What better to use barbecuing, right? Get some Wild Seasonings. At Wild Seasonings, you get 10% off your order if you use the promo code UNJ2021. And last but not least, that's right, folks, Deer Camp Coffee. You want 10% off your order?
Right there.
Use the promo code UNJ10, and we'll be talking more about our own label.
That's it right there.
That's the beginning of it.
Beginning of the Up North Journal blend of coffee.
Yes.
From Deer Camp.
So if you get over there and check out our... we'll talk about it more. I totally lost my thought.
Danny.
I know, right?
What are we going to do with you? I'll tell you what, let's just jump right into it tonight.
Before you do that, which we can't show you, I don't think I can get this in time unless it takes right away. We'll see if it does.
Well, look at there.
It did it.
What are you going to show us?
I'm going to show you M123 FM up in Newberry. It is 64 degrees up there.
That's right. And they do have a car on the street in Newberry, Michigan.
That's right. Go up there, check it out. Newberry is a great place, a great little town to visit. You can check out Cedars, and get some Deer Camp coffee there as well.
Cedars Pizza. We want to thank FM 123 up there in Newberry for actually taking and sharing our show.
Absolutely.
So make sure you go check those guys out. But I say we just get right into it tonight. You ready?
Do it.
All right. Well, tonight we have, back from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, we got Ed Gramza on from BaseMap. Ed, how you doing, man?
Man, I am doing great. Just listening to all this talk about deer camp is getting me excited.
Right?
July 1st, who knew that hunting season was coming up so fast?
You know, it happens every year, doesn't it? Before you know it, all of a sudden, we're like, I got to get my bow out. I got to start shooting arrows. I got to get this done. I got to do some tuning. I got to get
You
my
just got to
rifle.
remember to shoot the right arrows.
Don't start that. He wants to go back to tack.
Man, I literally just pulled my bow out of mothballs last week and finally started shooting. I just haven't had time.
I know. Well, you know, you and I, we kind of talked before the show. You know, we both moved recently. Well, when you do that, it takes time, and all of a sudden you got to find all your gear and kind of get back in that swing of things. So, you know, Ed and I have excuses, Danny.
Yep.
We got excuses.
Excuses.
Okay.
Excuses.
Valid ones. Okay. All right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it may be valid, but nothing should get in the way of getting ready for hunting season.
No, but it always does. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Life sometimes gets in the way, but
It does.
the PSC will be coming out very soon.
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's been a year since we've talked to you, Ed. You know,
Yes.
BaseMap. We had you on last year. We talked about the system on the phone and how it all kind of works. But wow, that's all I can say is what you guys have done lately. I don't even know where to start tonight with what you guys have done to it.
I don't either. I mean, since we talked a year ago, there's been a lot that has changed.
It's I've been playing with this thing now for about a month. Some of the new stuff. I tell you what, the one thing that I really jumped into was the live tracking.
Yeah.
I've been using it with a kayak. I've been doing a lot of kayaking this last year, and then once I found that live tracking feature on there, I was like, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to see if I can track a canoe trip. Because everybody says, well, where'd you put in at? Where'd you take out at? How long did it take you? And now I can just simply show them on my phone. You know, there's everything that is there. Why don't you talk a little bit about the live stuff on there and how that all came about?
Yeah, so I mean, we've had the tracking feature for a while. You know, I use it. It's super accurate, so it's going to keep track of where you've been. It basically is going to leave like a breadcrumb trail, like a handheld GPS. You know, but the way ours works is it's going to show you, you know, distance traveled, average speed, max speed, elevation gain and lost, information like that. Obviously, you know, kayaking, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of elevation gain and loss. But,
Hope not.
yeah, if you do, that's a problem.
Right.
That's whitewater rafting, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it does show a lot of information, and you can record those tracks. You know, one thing that's kind of limited right now is it's always going to be one color. You can't edit it, but we've got some changes coming for that soon.
Okay. You're talking about the red line. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I got you. Okay.
We got a lot of requests about being able to change colors, you know, based on different types of activities or anything like that. So we've got a few changes coming in that department.
Okay. Yeah, I'm throwing this up here right now. I got like a split screen on the app, so it's a little more easier to see. But you know, once I got the track, a recent kayak trip we took on the Tibbetawasi River here up in Saginaw County. We did 6.19 miles. It took us an hour and 56 minutes and 40 seconds to be exact.
Nice.
You know, average speed 3.2 miles per hour, top speed 6 miles an hour. You know, and then the elevation change of 147 feet. I mean, there's a lot of information there, and you start equating that to maybe out in the hunting field, you know, as well. Explain maybe how a bow hunter, a rifle hunter, somebody out west could use this in a hunting situation that we might not typically think of.
You know, one really cool way to use this is if you're tracking blood,
Mm-hmm.
you know, turn it on so you can kind of know where you've been. I mean, some guys tie tape, you know, a ribbon to a tree or something.
Right.
But this will allow you to kind of track where you've been. If you run if you lose blood and have to start doing a grid search, it'll kind of show you where you've been. I know a lot of guys use the tracking feature for shed hunting.
Okay.
Going back and forth in a field, looking for sheds, you know exactly where you've been and where you need to look.
Okay.
But it's also going to allow you to, if you have to get back to your truck or horse or ATV or whatever the case may be, or just camp, you can follow your breadcrumb trail back to where you traveled from.
And that to me, thinking like maybe out west, you're doing mountain hunting or whatever, and it gets dark. I don't have the best sense of direction. I mean, I know I can usually figure out where north, south, east, and west are, but when you're trying to pinpoint a truck and let's say you're back in the outback 4 or 5 miles off the beaten path, it's like, okay, how do I get back to my truck? And it's dark.
Right. Exactly.
And
it's dark out there.
It's dark.
There's no lights.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, that might lead us into our newest feature that we've got. I mean, obviously, if you're keeping your track, you can follow your track back to, your truck or whatever. But at the very least, drop a marker where your truck was, so you obviously know where it is. But now you can use our new XDR feature, Extreme Direction and Range scale on the app to show you the direction to your waypoint, how far it is, with the graduated scale based on how far you zoom in and out. I mean, it's our latest and greatest feature that we just added about a month ago to the app. Yeah, which I know you've been playing with.
Yeah, it's really cool. I've got a couple screenshots up here of it. It's the little compass thing there at the bottom of the app there that I've showed. I got a freeze frame of it. Talk a little bit about. I mean, obviously we know what the compass is there, but that the extended bar there. Talk a little bit about that and how that works for the guys and gals out there.
Yes, we wanted to do something that no other mapping app in this space has. So we've got the compass. I mean, literally, you can get into that mode and do a circle, and the compass is going to follow you. Because your phone has a compass in it. So it's always gonna know northeast, southwest. As you're spinning it. But then when you get into the XDR with the graduated line, so if you're looking at a landmark and you want to know how far it is, you can just aim your phone basically at that landmark and put the line on it with the arrow at the top, and it's going to tell you how many yards, how many miles, or fraction of a mile. And as you zoom in and out of the screen, the scale changes.
Mm-hmm. That's the part I thought was really cool.
And it's super accurate. So I'm also a golfer, and I've tested it on a golf course, basically standing on like the 150-yard marker in the middle of a fairway and put the arrow right on the middle of the green, and it's been spot on. And we've done testing on football fields, for 100 yards. So it's super accurate. So we're comfortable saying it's industry leading, but nobody else has a feature like this. So another really cool way to use that, if you're out west, spotting and stalking a mule deer that's bedded down.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can see the terrain and look at the map, and you can get a good idea of where it is. Now you can use the XDR and the line and be able to tell how far away the animal is.
There you go.
And drop a marker there and try to navigate to it, the best way you can. And you'll always be able to tell, exactly how far, or get a pretty good guess based on where you think it's bedded down or where you're headed to.
I think too, if you've got your points all marked out, like say for trapping, I used to do some trapping back in the day, and you've got your trap line all laid out on this thing, and you got all your points, and you get out there and maybe it's getting later in the evening, and you're not quite sure. You got a lot of snow on the ground, or whatever, and you can use that to navigate to your next point, to your next point, to your next point.
Right.
Make sure you're staying on track with where your traps are. Make sure you don't forget one.
Right.
Trail cameras. I got to think for the trail cam system, going out and plotting your trail cams as well is a great way to be able to make sure. Because I've lost one, before, and you think you've got 5 out there or 6 out there, or whatever, and all of a sudden you can only find 4 or 5, and it's like, well, where's the other one at? So it's just another great way.
Being that we're all Midwest guys here, sitting in a tree stand, you forget your rangefinder.
Right.
use that and range, find some sort of landmark and range it. I mean, obviously, when we're in a stand, we're ranging trees or something, so we have an idea if that buck comes out. We don't have to range it.
Right.
Now you can do that on the phone.
How something I haven't even checked yet, but how far or how close will it range for you? What's the smallest scale?
Oh man, you know what? That is a good question. Now you're gonna test me and make me look.
We are going to test.
I'm going to test it.
I
right
want
now.
to know because I'm thinking if I'm in my tree stand.
I'm zooming in right now. I mean, it's got me here at the house.
The closest line that I've got is 20 yards.
Well, and then there's another tick on it below that.
So it goes 20, 40, 60, and I'm guessing 80.
Okay, so and then there's 1, 2, 3 lines between, so it's breaking it down to 3 between the 20, roughly, 5 to 6
Yeah,
yards?
6.5 or 6 1/3.
Okay, so
Ish.
yeah, I'm looking at a 20 tick, and I'm looking at, actually, I can see down to where I'm at, there's 3 lines between me and the 20. So, yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. I never even thought about that.
And just to note, the furthest I've got this out is 11,200 miles.
11,200 miles. What were you ranging, man?
Man, I'm ranging like Antarctica.
Right? Wow. Okay, I'm gonna see right now. Yeah, I'm well over 10,000 miles there. So yeah, wow, that's crazy.
So I was in Wyoming back in September chasing elk and mule deer, and man, I felt like we were on a freaking death march every day. Trying to get back to the horses, and I marked where the horses were. It's like, man, how much further we got to go?
Right.
And I always had to draw a line from where I was to where the horses were, to figure out, okay, man, they're only a half mile away. Well, this is going to make it a lot easier. You don't have to draw lines and guess.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. Hold on to those thoughts there. We're going to take our first break. We're already up on our first break. It's time flies, man. Getting into this stuff is good. So we're going to step outside. We're going to take our first break. We come back. We'll continue the conversation because we got other things here to unpack in this thing.
Absolutely.
So we'll be right back after this. All right, we'll save this enough. Danny, what we got going on in the chat there?
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Gramza? Throw them at us, and we'll ask them in the next section.
We'll work them in as we go along here.
What's happening, Melissa? Mr. Gensel, what's happening? Rob Lee, how you doing?
All righty, and you ready, Dan?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Second segment, talking about BaseMap and the new features.
Yeah, I got a question. Mike brought up about marking trail cams.
Yeah.
Is there a way to transfer points to somebody else that has base maps that they, if I went out and I marked all my trail cameras and I said, hey, can you check my cameras? Is there a way for me to transfer that data to them?
Absolutely. So if they have BaseMap, when you click on a marker, there's a little, at the top right, there's 3 little circles. You can click on that and it'll open up another menu, and you can send that information via text or email to anybody that's got BaseMap.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So as soon as when it comes through as a link. If they click that link, it automatically opens BaseMap and drops that marker.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So I can go up, set out all the cameras, and then I can just transfer it all over to somebody else and say, hey, go check my cameras.
Go check my cameras. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, cool.
See, and I don't share that information. I don't want people to my stuff.
I'm not sharing with the common folk. It's my family and friends.
I don't even share that information with the family I'm hunting with.
Wow. Hey, guys and gals, Danny's going to share his hunting stand locations with everybody out there that's got BaseMap. So stay tuned.
And my name is Ed Gramza.
Yeah, right.
Can you use base maps on the waterways?
Absolutely.
Well, I do it with kayak.
Yes, I mean we do have lakes, rivers, and stuff on there. We've got 5,000-ish lakes that are actually mapped out with depth contours. It's not a lot. I mean, obviously, I'm in Wisconsin. We got over 10,000 lakes, but we've got something. But yeah, I mean, it shows all the riverways and things like that. So yeah, you can use it. You can use it out there.
You know, what's really impressed me, and I've used it back before these new features came out, people would ask me, well, okay, how far did you go on the river? And I zoom in with my satellite view, and it's amazing how clear it is, number one, and how far down you can actually go with those maps. And then I would plot my points along the river to figure out the distance, and it would calculate as you go along. But that satellite view is incredible of how detailed it is and how close you can actually get.
Yeah, that's one thing that's a little bit different with us versus our major competitor out there.
Mm-hmm.
We use different satellite imagery providers. So we actually use Google,
Okay.
Google imagery. So it's super high resolution.
How often is that updated?
Oh boy.
Or that's up to them?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because it's up to Google because they have to parse all those images together. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it also varies based on your location. So my spot may be more updated than yours, and we're not that far away. It really is up to Google or Apple or another company, Mapbox, how often they update that stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're a vendor, or they're a vendor. We're just we're a customer of theirs, so we have no say in how often that gets updated.
Right.
And that question gets asked a lot, and people complain, and I'll say this for the industry, even our competitors have no say in this. There's nothing we can do short of sending up satellites.
Right. No, it's the channels you get on TV is what you get and what you pay for there because that's what they provide.
Correct.
The shows. We don't have any say so over the shows. It's whatever that channel's broadcasting.
And then when we decide to change the channels,
yeah,
you have no
then you're
control over that.
Yeah. But
I mean, obviously that because we're using Google. I mean, I think Google's pretty up to date, and again, super high resolution.
yeah. And I got to imagine too that they're updating continuously. It's not like, oh, we're going to do this once a year or once every 6 months. They're updating continuously. Like you said, it just depends on where on the globe that they're actually doing it at.
Correct. So we did our last update a month ago. We took out some of our, I hate to use the term, base maps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The satellite, the topo, that's the base map. So we took out some of the base maps to kind of streamline it.
Mm-hmm.
So we put a quick toggle, on the right side of the screen and just cycle through satellite, topo, and hybrid. And we took out some of the base maps. We're making a little change because we caught some pushback on that. People were liking certain topography maps, and we took them out. So we're actually going to put some of those back in.
Yeah.
But we had guys saying, "Hey, I want my what do they call it? Like a leaf list layer back."
Right.
What are you talking about? Well, they were using one of the satellite imagery base maps, okay, that was showing stuff in the fall where Google may have shown like a spring image.
Okay.
Okay. Again, we don't have any control over that, but we took out some of the stuff that was the least used mapping. Well, obviously there were some people using them in little areas of the country.
Mm-hmm.
But we just don't have any control over what the imagery is going to show.
Right. No, I got you.
I mean, it very. I mean, I'm going to say it's a year plus old. I mean, everything is not super up to date, but it's as up to date as we can get.
Okay, I don't want to jump too far ahead yet, but along those same lines, with you've got the pro version of this, and you've got the private land owners' information and boundary lines. How often is that information updated?
So we update it quarterly.
Okay.
But it is also dependent on getting that information from our various providers, who in turn get it from the county or municipality. So it depends on how often a municipality or county updates their records. Okay, they probably update them, but they don't put it into a digital version that we can get.
Right.
So I bought. You mentioned I moved.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a house in December, and it's up to date right now. I mean, before I bought the house, it was showing that my house was 2 owners old.
Wow.
And it shows me now.
Okay.
So we had an update recently. It's going to vary. I can't. Mine is up to date here where I'm at,
mm-hmm.
but yours may not be just because of
Well,
your area didn't update it.
Yeah, I moved in April, and mine hasn't updated yet. And actually, I'm surprised that you guys it gets updated that quickly. When you said December, I was like, wow, that's That's quick. 6 months. So
yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I mean, we try to update it as often as we can as we get the new data.
Okay.
And then that just comes as a update to the app.
Yeah, it's actually accessing the servers. So I mean,
Yep.
it's not an update in the app. It's kind of on the back end, because
Okay.
you're accessing our servers with the information. It's on there. So I mean, when an update happens, we don't have to send out an update in the App Store.
Okay. We're about halfway through this segment. I want to ask a question. I'm just trying to debate if we're going to have enough time, if we have to carry it over to the next one.
Well, let's ask him.
We've been talking about the mapping with Google and all that, and the imagery. This app has the feature, and you and I talked on the phone about this, and I didn't really understand it at the time, how it worked, until you talked about it. You can download your map to your phone, and I'm thinking, okay, so you've got a map in here, whatever, however big, what have you, and okay, so now I'm up at my deer camp and I don't have cell service, and I'm like, well, how do I use it? But you explained that just because you don't have cell service, you still have connectivity.
Right. As I described it to you, Big Brother's always watching.
Right, exactly. So talk about the downloading of the maps and kind of how that all works.
So we've always had it, and last year, especially last fall, it seemed to be a major pain point for us. We had a lot of frustrated users because downloading maps was taking forever because people, if they were like me, I was trying to get the largest map I could with the highest resolution, so it took forever to download a map.
Mm-hmm.
So once the season was over, we started basically from scratch and revamped the whole thing. And just streamlined it, made it a lot faster, a lot cleaner, a lot easier. Back in the day, you had to select, if you wanted satellite, topo, and hybrid, you had to make sure you turned on every layer that would download it.
Okay.
Now, it downloads all three of those. You select basically three different sizes. You want small, medium, or large, essentially. You do still have to turn on whatever layers you want. If you're out west hunting in a management unit that you need to stay in because you drew that tag, you have to make sure you have that layer on, and you do still have to turn on all the layers, public, private, et cetera, but when we did that, our download speeds went from, could be an hour to 3 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And now,
Oh, go ahead.
but one other thing that we did too is when we revamped this, so now if I create a map and I have to wipe it off my phone for whatever reason, if I'm going to a different area and next year I'm going to go back, I can wipe it off my phone, but it stays in the cloud. We have something we're calling Map Vault, where just anytime I create a map, an offline map, it's going to stay in the cloud essentially, so I can come back and just re-download it and not have to screw around with turning on layers and anything.
Okay, so that stays within your, what do I want to say, your subscription.
Yep.
Okay, so now if, let's just say, I let my subscription go lapse, which nobody should ever do because this thing is awesome, but if you would you lose that information if you, let's say, a month later you say, oh, I got to re-up this, and you resubscribe, do you keep it?
It'll stay there, but if you're back on the basic or the free version, I think you can only download one offline map.
Okay.
So everything will stay in the cloud if you renew, but you're only able to download one.
Okay, I got you. I got what you're saying. All right.
Same thing with markers. I mean, if you've got 200 markers, I think our limit on our basic is 50. So it's just going to start wiping out the oldest markers until you renew.
Okay, so if you're using it, make sure you pay your subscription.
Don't forget.
That's right. Take care of it. You know what? And since we're talking about the subscription part of this, guys, gals, this is not expensive at all. $29.99 a year. Am I right on that?
Yep, $30 a year.
$30 a year to run this full, incredible system. It's mind blowing.
And that's for all 50 states.
Right, exactly. And we're just covering a few of the features, a few of the new things. So I mean, go back to last year's show and dig it up and search through, and you can find out when we talked about all this stuff last year. So We're bumping up here on our second break, so let's go ahead. We'll take our second break. When we come back, we'll talk about a few more new features here. So we'll be right back after this. All right.
All right. You got any questions out there? Type them in the chat. Okay, got a question.
Let me save this off real quick. We'll get going. Overall, Ed, I mean, we're not recording right now, but I mean, we're on Facebook, though, and everything. But the overall impression, the feedback you're getting from these new features, everything, I assume, has got to be on the up, out of this world, what people are saying about it.
I mean, that XDR feature, we've been getting feedback on that for the last month, and, man, it has been positive.
That's awesome.
Extremely positive. I mean, because there's literally no other app out there that has this.
Uh-huh.
So it's been super positive from everybody that's been using it. I mean, being that it launched, early June, people haven't been able to use it in a hunting scenario per se, unless, there were still some bear hunters out there. But,
right.
I think it's going to quickly become one of our top used features here pretty darn soon.
Well, this early elk season, I think you guys are going to get a lot of feedback on it real quick.
I mean, I'm headed to Montana in the middle of September to chase antelope and mule deer with the bow, so I'm sure it's not going to be using it.
Absolutely. And what you said about range and using it as a rangefinder, that to me, I was just like, that's incredible. You do your 20, your 30, your 40, for those you shoot 50, 60, what have you. I mean,
it's going to get you close enough to put an arrow in the pipe plate right in the boiler room, right?
That's right. And that's been the issue with me right now is I can't find my rangefinder because I just moved. Right. I cannot find it, man. It's killing me. See, that's another reason I don't go out and shoot.
That's right.
I just sold mine a month ago. I had a guy bugging me to buy my used rangefinder binos, and I got to buy a new pair. I need to get on that like ASAP.
Good luck finding it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be able to get them. I order them from a company I work with.
There you go.
Hopefully they got them in stock. They're not cheap, so they should still be in stock.
Right.
There's nothing cheap anymore, I tell you that.
Got it.
No.
Especially technology. So.
No.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Third segment of the show. Good little conversation there in the break too.
Yeah, it's why you gotta come over and check out the Facebook Live or check out the YouTube when we release it on YouTube.
That's
to
right.
Get the video portion to check out what happens in between the breaks.
Well, not only that, we're showing some slides and things of the app, and you've got to actually see this thing to really appreciate what this can do. It's pretty incredible. Another feature I noticed on here, and I'm going to call it up just so I can call it by its right name, the live link. That to me was something that I've never really thought about, and it's like that's a great feature. I mean, I can think of a bunch of different reasons why you would want live link, and explain what that system is.
So live link is essentially a live location sharing. So you have to turn it on and off and select who can see your location. But it allows you to see where any of your friends or anybody you're sharing a location with in real time. The caveat to that is you do need cell service. This will not work offline. You do need cell service for this. But yeah, there's 1,000,001 different reasons or scenarios why you would want to use this for sure. I mean, being Midwest guys, if guys are on a lease and you get to the lease late, well, where's Joe Hunt? I can see exactly what stand he's in because he's got his location sharing turned on.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is walk in on a trail and bust some guy's hunt up because you're late getting out there,
Right. Somebody falls out of a tree and is hanging in a tree and can't get to their phone or get out. Well, why hasn't he shown up for dinner? Where the heck is he? Well, he's still in the tree. We got to go figure out what the heck is going on.
Right. Yeah. It lets you know exactly where they're at. So
absolutely. It's just one of those. It's a safety feature.
Well, and I was thinking even kayaking. We were out on Saginaw Bay 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was getting a little bit dark, but towards the evening, if you've got a couple different groups out on big water and you got that thing running, you can see where everybody's at, and if there's something where you need help and you're like, you call them and go, yeah, well, I'm out here on the bay. Come get me. Well, where at?
Yeah, right. Where on the bay?
Exactly.
I mean, if you're out there a couple miles out, even if you could see along the shore, I mean, a couple miles in what direction? So to me, that alone, just the safety feature of it is worth having. I mean, what do people pay for? Those emergency location beacons, kind of the same thing, but obviously you do have to have cell service.
Yeah, I carry a spot device with me when I'm out west, just so I can communicate with home, because obviously 99 times out of 100 I'm without cell service.
Right.
But it's essentially the same type of thing. I mean, unfortunately, we can't get the phones to communicate via satellite like a spot or an inReach.
Right. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet. But yeah, I mean, it's there's a million and one reasons why you would want to use LiveLink.
And speaking of the spot, is that, if I'm not mistaken, is that the prize pack this week for the gear drop?
It is a Spot Gen 4 GPS messenger device. I mean, I've got one that allows you to check in at home, and you can hit a button and just check in, let everybody know where you're at. You can turn on like a tracking feature, so you can watch on, people from home can watch live online to see where you're at, and you can call them the swimming ducks if you get into trouble.
There you go. But
talk about gear drop.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of gear drop,
might as well explain it.
I haven't played in a while because, like I said, going through some things and moving, and I was all discombobulated. But I've got back into it here. For those that are listening or watching right now that don't know what we're talking about, explain gear drop real quick. And this is a real game too.
Yeah. So gear drop is like a virtual geocaching game. Within the app, it runs from Wednesday to Monday every week, and the prize changes. So we designate an area, usually like a game management unit, and give a couple hints, as to where the stuff is located. People complain all the time, your hints suck, they're vague. Well, we're not going to tell you where it is. That defeats the purpose. And I will admit, I will take the heat. I'm the one that creates this in the system and picks the spot and picks the hints. So if you want to direct it at me, go ahead, but they have to be vague.
Ed Gramza.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say.
I bet you, even if I gave the coordinates, people would still say, I still can't find it.
Exactly. Yeah. This week's, I will say, when I looked at that, I went, wow, that's tough, So I had to do my homework. Due diligence, and find those 2 points that it's between.
It's you have to have the right layers turned on, because so part of gear drop is to get people in the app and learn how to use it by turning on different layers. I mean, so I wish I could be a little bit harder on it, to be honest with you, but because we have paid users and basic users playing, we have to keep it equal as far as I can't give an advantage to a paid user over a basic
right.
user.
No,
so
that makes sense.
I have to use the layers that are available for basic users.
Gotcha.
So one hint that I will tell everybody is when it's between a point and a point, turn on the landmark layer.
Exactly.
That's where I get it from.
Yeah. I figured that out. I turned that on, but I was still, there was so many that lit up, and I'm like, I went and did a search. I just typed it in Google and said, okay, where is this? And then where is that? And I kind of got a geographical region. I said, okay, I know where it's at within the region. And I turned that layer on, and then I started. That's how I figured it out.
I will tell you right now, live right now, that the person that's winning is 469 feet away from the actual spot.
That was what I was going to ask you: is how close? How close do people get that win?
We've had it feet. Like if I'm super specific in a hint, we've had it within feet, almost inches.
Wow.
So yeah, the winner right now is 469 feet away.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It'll get closer.
Yeah, because actually, when you start thinking about it, that's still a long ways away, and that goes back to looking at the geographic or the satellite imagery, and I'm thinking. What I zoomed down as tight as I can get, and I'm like, okay, if I was going to hide gear, that specific gear, why would I need it, and where would it be? That's kind of my mind.
You're overthinking this. I literally just pick a random spot. I mean, I used to kind of pick a landmark.
Okay.
Kind of a landmark. Now it's just
Well, man, you just busted my balloon.
You had him thinking.
I'm probably 469 miles away.
Yeah, you need to have. Generally, you need to have the points of interest layer turned on.
Okay.
We had somebody complain, that's not where that was. Well, you didn't have the right layer turned on because it was right between the two we said it was.
That's right.
And when I say it is near or around or something, it could be anywhere around it. Near is a relative term.
Mm-hmm.
Near could be 500 yards. It's not 5 yards.
Right.
So it's all relative and very vague.
Well, as much distance as between those points, I'm thinking it was miles.
No, there's an little inside tip on how to play gear drop.
So there you go, folks. He's giving you the tools to get you into the general area. It's your job to find the spot.
And he stays up late at night to figure out the next one.
Yeah, I bet.
No, I do it every Monday morning at 10 o'clock my time.
Okay. Well, I do enjoy it. Back when I was playing it religiously, I got close a couple times, and it, to me, like you said, geocaching. For those of you who geocache, and I do, that's half the fun. I mean, yeah, if you win, you get the prize, but the bigger thing is like, how close did I actually get? Can I figure this out? So for me, and like you said, it makes you turn all these layers on to try to figure out what's what and where it's at. So
right,
you get familiar with the app.
He came up with an idea to make the user use the app and make it a learning tool.
There you go.
So
and you've played. We've had great prizes. I mean, we've given away rifles, and bows, and camo gear, and I mean, we've had some really great stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that's run across your guys' app for Gear Drop that I said, oh wow, no. Everything you guys got some really good stuff, and high end stuff. So
yeah, and I can take the credit for that. Not only do I set it up, I get all the prizes. So if you don't like a prize, that's on me too.
No, man, you guys do a fabulous job with that, or you do. I mean, absolutely. It's pretty incredible some of the things you guys give away. So you're working with some good people, obviously.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we're 3-4 minutes away. Let's save it for the end of the show because I want to get into something here that I was playing with the other day as well that we've talked about the other day when we spoke. So let's take our last break. When we come back, we'll talk about another feature here on BaseMap. So we'll be right back after this.
All right, last segment of the show, folks. Got any questions about BaseMaps? Or if you want to complain about Gear Drop.
I have no complaints.
If you want to complain about Gear Drop, it's support@basemap.com.
There you go.
I'm not foolish enough to give my email address.
There you go. And,
I can see that one.
And do not ask us because we're not giving it away either.
Right.
I know better.
You'll get my email address if you win.
There you go. Yeah, that's how you know. When you win, you'll get the email address. That's good. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Last segment of the show. Before we went to break, I was kind of talking about another feature here that I was playing with the other day, and I'm going to open it up here. Like I said, I just want to make sure I'm calling everything exactly what it is on here. And if I go into my BaseMap app, and I got to get rid of that icon. I hit my tools. Is it in tools or is it in weather?
Tools.
It's in tools. Okay. And there's a icon on here that's under the hunting menu that says check wind. And I'm like, check wind. Okay. And then you drop a marker of where you're at, and it'll actually. I'm gonna hold this up here. I'm gonna take this see if I can get this full screen here so everybody can see this. And you can see a cone, and that's the direction that your scent's going to be blowing from that icon that I plotted right there in the middle of the screen. To me, Ed, that's a tool that's simply incredible because if you got a stand, you can point that stand and drop that wind checker on there, and it'll give you the direction of the wind that day for that stand. But I've also noticed that on the bottom there's a slider that you can actually go ahead and time, and it'll tell you the wind direction for that day.
For 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
Now imagine using that out west when you see something that you're going to have to stock, and you want to know what the wind's doing.
Exactly. So, I mean, you start putting all these things together, it's just going to make your hunt that much more successful. But, talk a little bit about the wind checker feature on this and how y'all decided on this.
Yeah, so we, last year when we talked, we had it in our head that we were going to go after the whitetail market. Again, being that we're all from the Midwest here, no offense to the guys out west listening, but whitetail is king. Everybody says whitetail is king.
Right.
We far outnumber all those Westies hunting elk and mule deer. So we wanted to put a killer feature in the app that was going to target the whitetail market. And all our, I'm the only guy in the company that lives in the Midwest. Everybody else is out west. I said, we got to do something with wind. Wind is the number one thing that we check before we go into a stand. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we came up with the hunt wind idea. So like you showed, you can look anywhere, basically drop that pin anywhere in the world, okay, and check the wind. And you can check it 24 hours in advance. So depending on how fast the wind is, the smoke is going to blow faster or wider or narrower. If it's just kind of a slow wind, it's going to actually be more of a wide cone. But with that as well, if you're putting a tree stand up, if you're put up ladder stands or you got a hang on that you leave in the tree, when you drop a marker that's a tree stand or a ground blind, it automatically asks you to set your ideal wind. Okay, so if you got a ladder stand sitting on a food plot, obviously you probably want the wind blowing in your face out of that food plot.
Right.
So you set your ideal wind. So for all the tree stands that you have that have your wind set, now you can look in the future up to 7 days and see what tree stand or blind or whatever it is you should be in on that day based on what the wind conditions are going to be. So we show, a color-coded red, yellow, and green. So red, it tells you not to be in that stand for that day because the wind is just not ideal. And it's based on what you set it.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a really powerful feature as you're looking at where you're going to be on any given day in a tree stand.
Wow. If you've got if you're hunting a lease or what have you, and you've got, I don't know, let's just say you got 8 stands put out, you and your buddies, and you're there by yourself, and you can look a week in advance and get a general idea of what's coming.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, obviously it could change, but
right. But a lot of these people, these hunters out there, tend to leave a certain stand alone for that specific reason. They'll waiting to see when the wind is right to hunt that stand.
Yep.
And with this, man, it's like,
just another tool in the toolbox.
Right. It's like, hey, it looks like this Saturday I'll be able to get in there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just thought of something else with this, and I'm going to go back to my kayaking. There's a place here in Michigan. It's on the tip of the thumb here on Lake Huron that we've been wanting to go. The girl I'm dating, she's been there already. She wants to take me to. It's called Turnip Rock, and it's about 2 miles out. But where you have to get into the water to go to this and get back, it's so critical with wind speed and direction. If I put a wind marker or a tree stand, a virtual one on that, I could look 7 days in advance and start seeing the wind patterns and figuring out what might be the best day to make that trip.
You could.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I got to imagine it'd be the same thing for fishermen for maybe a certain hot spot with a wind out of a certain direction that gets the fish to feeding better.
Correct. What do they say? Wind out of the east, fish fight the least. Winds out of the west, fish fight the best, or something like that.
Yeah.
You mentioned being able to use this out west. Yes, you can use it out west. If you save maps, we're going to cache, I believe it's 7 days of weather. From the time that you basically are going to go offline, it'll cache 7 days of weather.
Okay.
So you can see weather, not live what it is right now, but predictive. So hunt wind will work out west, but question we get a lot is how accurate is it? Well, it's only as accurate as the weather information we get. Obviously, with thermals and terrain, there's no app that's ever going to predict that. You still have to have some common sense. Hunter sense.
Yeah. And don't get me started about weather prediction, man. I work in television. I work with weather guys, and
isn't that the best job? You get paid to be wrong all the time.
50% wrong, and you're good.
You still keep your job. That's the only place where you can be wrong half the time and still work.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong profession.
Right? Exactly, man. I tell you.
And you can't tell me why the thermals aren't doing what I want them to do.
Exactly.
What is wrong with you?
So we launched Huntwind early September of last year, and it quickly has become the #1 used feature within BaseMap.
Wow. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
So, there is a difference between a paid user and a basic user. So basic user can put one tree stand and check future weather.
Okay.
And a basic user, if I recall, cannot check, live weather right now in the future. It's just what it is right now. They can't look 24 hours in advance.
Okay. Well,
so that is one benefit of a pro membership.
Well, I let mine go lapse last year just because I didn't even hunt last year, just due to my life situation with the move and everything. Last year's hunting season was blown up for me, but I'm telling you, for $30, come on, guys and gals, get up off $30. You spend that much money. Going out
you can spend that in coffee.
You can spend that in coffee. You can spend that going out and grabbing lunch. I mean,
right?
For what this has to offer is simply incredible. Seriously, I'm just blown away with the improvements you guys have made.
And I can't talk about them yet, but hold my beer and watch this. It's coming soon.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to say, obviously you guys are always working on things, so there's got to be some other stuff coming.
Coming soon. Hopefully before
we've got some. What? Oh yeah,
okay.
We've got some big stuff coming. We've got a deadline of a new feature that's supposed to launch by the end of the month, and it's going to be a hold my beer and watch this moment.
I cannot wait, dude. You got to get back with us and let us know like the day you guys are going to launch, so I can get on here and mess with it, and we'll do some live drops on it.
For sure.
So that's cool. Man, I want to know what it is.
It's big. It's big.
All right.
We've done. XDR was a big one. We've got another feature that we're still working on. It was supposed to be out a couple weeks ago. We're still kind of working on some contractual stuff that's coming. But we've got a big one coming in a few weeks.
Okay. Cool. We got a few minutes here left. We talked about the wind. I wanted to get back to, there's a little icon on here that's got the temperature, and that I got to assume that's your location at that point in time, correct?
Correct.
So you tap on that, and you get hourly, 7-day, and then settings, but it gives you like the sunrise, the moonrise, current temperature, wind direction at that point of where you're at. This is kind of your little pocket weathercast.
Right, and this is where So I clicked on it to just follow along with you. This is where I now see my ideal stands.
Okay.
Okay. So it shows me that there's all the stands I've got set up at my aunt and uncle's property where I hunt. We got a million stands. There's 6 stands that are ideal right now at this very moment to be sitting in.
Okay. And obviously, I don't have any stands set on this yet. So, add stand. Okay, I see that. So you just add a stand, and then it's going to have a list. I imagine it'll build a list for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it'll show ideal and risky. So kind of. Wind isn't ideal, but you could probably go in there if you really wanted to.
Yeah. And then there's one that says, "What are you, nuts? Stay out of it."
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, when you click on that, that icon, it definitely brings up a lot of information. There's a ton of weather information here: barometric pressure, the hunt wind for the ideal stands, your current wind, moon phase, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, there's so much in this, and I've played with this for a year and a half, 2 years, and then like I said, I didn't mess with it last year because I wasn't hunting, which obviously I should have had it, and I would have learned a lot more about this. But I'm still learning a lot that's packed into this thing, and the only way to do it is just get it and play with it, I guess, and figure it out. Like you said, use the gear drop. That helps a whole lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you compare us to some of our competitors out there, I mean, there's a couple apps out there that are $100 or more for all 50 states. I mean, we're $30,
Right.
and it's got more information. We've got features that they simply don't have.
Well, and talk about talking about the 50 states. You've got different game species, and hunt zones and things of that nature. We've got a few minutes. Dive into that just a little bit for the people who may have missed that last year when we talked to you.
So, we do have, so for $30 you get all 50 states, but there's also an add-on for $10 a year. We call it our Hunt Research.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to show you some historic. Now, this is for Western guys. It doesn't really apply to you and I.
Mm-hmm.
But for Western guys, it's going to show some historical hunting data. How many guys were out hunting, number of days it took to harvest, harvest statistics. It also includes the Eastman's Hunting Journal, MRS data,
Mm-hmm.
kind of how they rank all the hunting units out west for every species. It'll show historic ranges or winter ranges, summer ranges for animals. Plus we have all the game management unit boundaries. We have that for the whole country. No matter what animal you're hunting, if you have to stay within a certain GMU because you drew a once in a lifetime tag, ignorance is not an excuse. We give you the information to stay legal within that unit.
Yeah, actually, you bring that point up. That's what I used on my elk hunt here in Michigan. I drew a tag back in 2019. That was actually the last hunting that I had done. But I pulled up my game management unit portion of that, and we were real close to a boundary, and I was using that to make sure that I was staying within my zone. Because, like you said, you can't say, well, I thought. Game warden's going to say, well, too bad. You're across the line. You're busted. So,
Yep.
That's a nice little feature to have.
I'll tell you right now, the game wardens, whether they have us or a competitor, they have something.
Yep, exactly, and it's one of those things that I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
They use it, so ignorance is not.
Yeah,
I cannot tell you over all the years that I've worked on, in this space, how many times I've been at a trade show and talked to somebody and say ignorance is not an excuse. People look at you like, what?
Right?
Hey, the game wardens are using something. They know you're not legal.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't say I didn't know.
Talking about that, I got to imagine this stuff with the law enforcement side or the game enforcement side of the law. They've got to. What's their feedback on it? I mean, they got to love this stuff too.
So we have a state under contract right now that all the game wardens, all the park and rec, everybody that you could think of in a law enforcement side of outdoor recreation uses BaseMap. That is the great state of Texas.
There you go.
There you go.
So every warden in Texas has got BaseMap on their phone, and they use it for enforcement or anything like that.
Well, the one part, since we're talking about this, we got a few minutes left here. I want to bring this section up.
Well, while you're talking about that, another, we're talking always on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
on the phone, using BaseMaps on my phone. But you can actually use a desktop version of it.
Yeah, there's a desktop version. BaseMap.com. You just log in with the same information. So now you get all the information on BaseMap on the desktop on a larger screen. You can actually set your tree stands here and set your ideal wind for hunt wind. Anything that you do online transfers to your mobile device and vice versa. So, I mean, you don't lose any information by going between the two devices. It all syncs up and everything is on there.
So
but it really is a great way to e-scout from home. A little bit better than just looking on your phone.
Oh, I just crashed his computer. Sorry, Danny.
Exactly. And, instead of looking at your little phone there, you can bring it up on your laptop, blow up the map that you're looking at, and, work on it there. So whether you're sitting at home, you can still work on the maps. And
I should have had you log into my username, and you could have pulled up some of that stuff, but I wasn't thinking about that. But we were talking about, law enforcement using this. And what we're talking about is like the landowner boundaries or game management boundaries. I got a slide up right here, and you see these white lines. They're showing, the section, the parcel section or the land section. And this is a great tool, not only to stay within where you're supposed to be, but also you can access who owns that land to gain permission to use that land for hunting.
Correct.
And with that, I wanted to pull up, I did pull up like one piece of information here from a landowner. I won't leave it up too long because everybody would be contacting me going, can I hunt that field? But this is what it gives you. It gives you, the address, his mailing address to the person that owns that land, so you can actually physically contact them and possibly ask for permission to hunt that property. But like you said, the law enforcement side also knows where those boundaries are, so you better be within where you're supposed to be.
Right, and one thing, out west, I mean, think about out west and the vast chunks of land that people have. And they put up a fence row 3 generations ago and the fence blew down. Well, now their land magically expanded.
Right.
It didn't expand. The boundaries are still there. So, you get people that say, I got kicked off this property. Well, you shouldn't have been kicked off because it wasn't theirs.
Right.
So a tool like this definitely keeps you where you're supposed to be and out of where you're not supposed to be.
It also can help you if you see some illegal activities, pass on the
Correct.
information to the law enforcement.
Right. There you go.
Correct. And actually, I used that a couple of years ago turkey hunting. I had to use that to my advantage to get somebody busted that was not doing something legal.
Well, no, that's it, right? If you see something, it's like, hey, and give it to the law enforcement. Let them handle it. You don't need to walk into a.
Yeah, I'm over here on Farmer Johnson's property hunting his back 80, and there's a guy over here on Farmer Jones's place who's, he's over there. He's shooting over his limited birds.
Right.
Or those magical,
Exactly.
or those magical shots that happen at
After dark.
1 a.m.
Exactly.
We've all heard them.
Right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
But yeah, so no, like you said, from the law enforcement side to the hunter to the fisherman to the hiker to the boater, for $30 a month or $30 for the year, I don't see where you can't go wrong. It's pennies a day.
Yeah, it's for what you get out of this, man. This thing's incredible. And if you want to play with it just a little bit and figure it out just on the base version of it, that part's free. You can go over and get your basic membership. That's still available, correct?
Yeah, you can still do a basic membership and play with it a little bit. I mean, we at this point right now, we don't have like a free trial. That may or may not be changing soon.
Okay.
But yeah, you can play with it and just kind of get the feel for how all this works. I mean, you still have access to the XDR for now. Play with Huntman a little bit. Yeah, there's things that you can do in the basic version. You just won't see you can see property boundaries, but you won't see who owns anything. You won't be able to tell if it's public or private.
Okay.
But there's still things you can do in the basic version.
Okay. Just enough to get your feet wet, get you interested in it,
Correct.
and then you make that pro the choice to get the pro version of it.
Yeah.
And like I said, you guys are by far the most economical, but one of the best system I've seen out there so far. By
Right.
bar
Well,
none.
Tell you what, I'll make it easy for everybody. I'll give you a discount code to get 25% off, and it won't be $30 this year.
There you go, guys and gals. And
So you do have to enter this code on our website. You can't enter it in the App Store or Google Play because you just can't.
you got to go to
It has to be on our
basemap.com.
website. Basemap.com. If you enter the code Gramza, Gramza, my last name, 25, you'll get 25% off of BaseMap for the year. So now you're talking like $22.
There you go. And there's his name spelling right there on the screen, so you can see it. And BaseMap below it, where he's at, you just put .com behind that, and you said Gramza 25.
Yep, all lowercase. You'll get 25% off this year.
And that's only for the people watching tonight.
And while you're I'm looking at the website, kind of explain the layer for services like outfitters.
Yeah, so we do have some outfitter. They're all out west, but we do have some services layer that show if you're looking for a guided hunt or something. We're looking to expand on that. I mean, it's been kind of
Well,
all hands on deck for all these features, but we're looking to expand the services to show like packers or meat lockers or stuff like that.
The reason I brought it up was because let's say Mike and I decide we want to go out west, but well, who are we gonna look up, right? And
Right.
So here, talking with you, and let's go to the app and see who recommends, and
Yep.
I would have full confidence in you that whoever comes on here is worth our while to check into. It's not
Correct.
Joe Schmo.
Correct.
Well, and you brought up a good point about meat lockers or places to process things of that nature. Hopefully that be something that we could tie into later. Because when I went on my elk hunt, the first thing that my outfitter asked me, he said, "What are you gonna do with the meat when you get it?" And I'm like, "Well, I was gonna take it, hopefully to a butcher and up that way." Well, where are you gonna go? I mean, they want to know all this information ahead of time.
Yep.
And I really wasn't thinking that much about it, and it kind of woke me up a little bit, and I had 4 or 5 months before my hunt to get all that in order. So some different things to think about.
And I mean, just because you take it to a butcher, I mean, you got to have a backup plan because it's going to take a couple days to get that meat back. You might be headed home already. How are you going to get that meat?
Yeah, exactly. How's it going to get from said butcher to your place wherever you live?
Yep.
Especially if you're 5 or 10 states away.
Right. So when I was in Wyoming, I shot my elk early enough. We took it into the butcher. I think I paid an extra $50 to rush the order. So I got it back, and in between the time I shot the bull and got my meat back, I shot a mule deer. So I just took the mule deer home quartered and took care of that when I got home. But I wasn't going to screw with a dang elk.
Okay, yeah, right on. Well, and especially now, I mean, I hate to say the dirty 3-letter word, but CWD, you can't transport a lot of these game animals across state lines anyway. It's got to be processed there. So it's going to have to be, you got to have to pick a place.
Right, exactly.
So.
And my brother makes a good point. He hunts in an area that the boundary is very vital. He does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got some peachy neighbors, let's just say.
Okay, well, there you go. Another good reason to get that pro version and use the property owner part of the boundaries.
Absolutely. And, it's just one of those things. It's just another tool in the toolbox to use to help you out.
And he's giving you 25% off tonight.
Right, exactly.
So there you go.
Better than a game camera in Arizona.
Don't get me started. You laugh.
That's a whole rabbit hole we don't want to go down.
We did last week.
We did last week, yeah.
Gosh.
I spent about 25-30 minutes on that alone. I dusted off the soapbox and
Yeah, we were playing it last week.
went to town.
Right?
Oh my.
Oh gosh, that is a mess.
We could talk a whole nother show on that.
You know what? It was almost a OMG. I'll just use the letters OMG moment as to what are they doing. But
Wow.
it is what it is.
All right, what it is. Just be glad we don't live in Arizona, right?
Let's just not hope that it's the start of something. Yeah.
That's the problem. I see stuff that happens out west, and all of a sudden it starts trickling to the Midwest.
It's funny. Something like that will probably end up here, but yet we can't even get our own state.
Don't get me started. Here we go. Game management. He wants to see me get all riled up. I've had my
It gets
coffee.
me riled up that we can't make a phone call to another state to see how things are going because they won't do it because we don't like change.
Right. So, yeah, you've been in Wisconsin. You know all about that.
Yep.
So,
But
we'll save that for another show.
right.
Well, I'll tell you what, hang on with us here just for a few minutes after the show. I'm going to wrap up the podcast portion of the show here. We're kind of running just a little bit long. Is there anything, actually, before we do go, is there anything that you want to cover that we haven't covered yet about BaseMap?
No, I mean, we hit on, on everything that's, a vital use of it. I mean, there's so much information. There's so many layers. I mean, we could go for another hour talking about everything that's in there. But, we definitely hit on the key features and benefits of it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did a fabulous job with the new rollout of all the new features. I have been blown away with it. So, it's something that I'm going to continue to use and learn and play with, and I'm going to be out kayaking this coming week. I got a week's vacation, so I'm going to get in depth with it and do a lot of tracking with it and see what I can open up on it. So, but for those of you on the podcast, obviously we talked about a lot of things that you couldn't see tonight because you're on the podcast and not the live stream. Danny's going to download.
Yep, I'll upload it within the next couple days. Usually by the weekend, I have it on YouTube.
Okay, check it out on YouTube. Obviously, you can check it out on Facebook as well. Go over to our Facebook page. Go over to BaseMap on all their social media. Give them a like, follow, share. Check out what they've got to offer. Make sure you go to basemap.com. And Ed has given us the 25% off code for tonight, so you guys can check that out as well and save a little bit of money. Not that it's expensive, because it's very reasonable. So make sure you check it out.
Exactly.
And obviously, give our social media a like, follow, share the show. We'd appreciate it. It helps people who help us in return. So that'll do it for us tonight. We'll be next week. We're not doing a show.
So this weekend is 4th of July.
Yep.
And both of us are going on up north.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have a show a week from today.
We're going to go get our 1776 on.
Absolutely. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
That'll do it. So that'll do it for the show this week. We'll see you guys back again the week after the 4th. So y'all take care, and we'll be back again next time. All right, everybody on the live stream, if you got a question, you better get it in now.
That's right.
We'll hang out here for just a few minutes and entertain a few if you've got them. And I'm going to save this off here before I lose the last segment of the show.
Right? Don't lose that. And then, but yeah, I think it's awesome.
You got big plans for 4th of July over there in Wisconsin?
Not a lot. So I live, if you're a NASCAR fan, which I'm not much of a NASCAR guy, but Road America,
you go there?
road course.
Yeah.
It's like 3 miles from my house. I heard them practicing today.
Oh.
They're going to be there this weekend for the 4th.
They are here this weekend.
All right.
And you're not going?
No,
you're 3 miles from the track.
I'm going to try to avoid that area like the plague. It was about 8 o'clock this morning. I heard the cars fire up and start going around.
I'll wait till Sunday.
There's a race on Saturday, and the Cup race is on Sunday.
Yeah, Xfinity is Saturday.
Be glad they don't have one on Friday too, because usually MIS that's the way it is.
Yeah, right? I don't think the trucks are there this weekend. So.
No, not the trucks. But there's a parade I'm taking my girls to, which is just down their dang road from Road America. So I got to go in the Elkhart Lake on Sunday morning for a parade, but then I'm going to avoid it like the plague.
There you go. Head to the woods.
I wish.
Head to the woods, man. I tell you what, fall's not going to be very far away. I mean, we're less. Are we 90 days now from?
Well, let's see. What are we? July 1st.
Well, so you were talking about dates, and I had to pull up my little reminder app on my phone. In 76 days, I leave for my antelope and mule deer hunt in Montana.
And that's mid-September, right?
That's mid-September. September 16th is when I'm.
Yeah, we're about 90 days away.
Yeah, 90 days.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well,
October 1st.
Yeah, October 1st.
Well, today's July 1st, so we got. Yeah.
In your bow season in Wisconsin starts.
It's usually the second Saturday of September.
Yeah. So.
So about the 11th.
There you go. But you're gonna
maybe
have
the 18th. I don't know. I hunted one year. I hunted opening weekend, and man, that was. I think I sat for an hour. It was 90 dang degrees. It was miserable.
Oh, come on. You're out there in your shorts and...
Oh, the bugs. They had the bugs.
The bugs are there. If you guys can get something on your app to keep the bugs away, I'll be impressed.
I had my thermosol going, and that didn't do a dang thing.
They just licked that up like gravy.
Right?
Oh, man, and I was worried if I shot one.
Yeah.
Man, I got to put a good shot on this because it's going to
spoil.
I don't need this thing to spoil. It was just a nightmare. It was not fun.
Yeah, warm days are not a hunter's friend for sure.
And you're going out west in the middle of September.
Yeah, it could snow.
It's vice versa. It's either going to be.
I've been in Montana chasing elk in the middle of September, and we got a foot of snow.
Right.
So
I know, I get it. It's the fun packing part. What do I pack?
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Right.
I'll be in the plains, like the southeast part of Montana, so like the flat plains. It'll be this is the third time I've done this hunt. It should be in like 70-ish during the day, and it's going to be in the 20s at night.
Man.
You know,
Nice.
so it's not bad. You got to hope for no rain because you can't drive on those dang dirt roads when it's raining.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Anything there on the
We're all
chat? All right, we're all set. So hang with us for just a second. We'll wrap up and we'll chat for just a second afterwards. But for everybody on the live stream, thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure you use the promo code. Get over there to BaseMaps. Check it out. And like we said to the people on the podcast, give us a like, follow, share. Do the same for BaseMap. Get over and check it out, basemap.com. And save yourself 25%. Use Gramza25. So that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back again 2 weeks. So today is the 15th. 15th of July. Y'all have a safe 4th of July and get out there and have some fun. Y'all take care, and we'll be back again in 2 weeks. See you then.